Arm bars, guillotines, and spinning kicks to the head are the currency of pain in EA Sports UFC. And in EA's first foray into the octagon, we're bringing you an amazing UFC game that is so realistic, it's going to blow your mind. I'm here with Jazz Brousseau, and we're going to talk to you all about it. He's actually going to be multitasking for us today, and playing and interviewing with me. So hats off to you, sir. That is way more than I can do all at one time. All right, so I'm super excited about this game. Talk to us a little bit about why EA chose to decide to finally get into the octagon.
Well, you know, UFC is the fastest growing sport in the world. Obviously, it's something that we wanted to pursue. And we signed the contract at E3 2012 about 2 years ago. So we built this game in a very small amount of time that I think, you know, we're really proud about where it ended up.
Yeah. I mean, to me, just being such a UFC fan, the player likeness that I've seen, and I'm not just talking about, like, you know, facial recognition and their expressions and the way they look or their bodies, the actual little tics. Each fighter has such a specific style, and you guys really captured all of their little nuances, you know, the way they toss their head, their footwork. You know, gone are the days of the slide across the mat boxing games.
Yeah, so I mean, it all started with the 3D head scans that we did at UFC Fan Expo. And then, you know, you mentioned the little quirks. We did a lot to add character and personality to each of the characters. And we really wanted to nail, you know, the little things that make GSP GSP. Yeah. The little things that make Junior Dos Santos him. And so, you know, you see that in the game. And
not only you guys have a huge roster. I mean, we're getting, you know, John Bones Jones, Cain Velasquez, Ronda Rousey. I mean, we go back to Chuck Liddell, get some classics in there. Maybe a Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell matchup, possibly.
You know, you never know. But I mean, yeah, it's a mix of legends and up-and-comers, and of course, we'll be expanding the roster with free roster updates.
Yes, and then the most special man on the roster, the iconic Bruce Lee.
Yeah. So, you know, Bruce Lee is the forefather of MMA. You know, when you think of that Jeet Kune Do philosophy of, you know, absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own, that is MMA.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing too. You know, and I want to learn more about the fact, so you guys got to do all these 3D head scans, but unfortunately Bruce Lee's no longer with us. And so I read you guys actually got like a body cast of his or something?
So we ended up getting a head cast sent to us by Shannon Lee of Bruce Lee Enterprises. So it was a little bit surreal. For a couple of weeks we had a cast of his head sitting on, you know, the tables.
That's crazy.
And but yeah, it was pretty crazy. And we did 3D head scans of the cast, and the body we built in a more traditional way, but luckily there's tons of tape that we were able to look at.
And replicate that speed.
Exactly.
That's the most amazing part about him.
Yeah.
I know everyone's really excited, and you guys actually announced that if you pre-order the game, you'll get Bruce Lee already unlocked. You won't have to fight.
That's correct. So Bruce Lee comes in 4 weight classes, but you'll also be able to unlock him by playing through career and beating it there.
Awesome.
And here he is right now, actually.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of this footage, because this is really amazing.
So this is the walkout gear that Bruce Lee will wear in the different weight classes is actually authentic fight gear. You can actually get these T-shirts right now. And there he is.
And of course, we have to have Bruce Buffer.
Of course, obviously.
Did you do a head scan of him as well?
We did head scans for everyone. Everyone that's in the game got head scanned.
And once again, here's Bruce Buffer.
So we have Bruce Lee and GSP. There he is. There he is. Bruce Buffer. Now, when you have the announcers, are they actually live broadcasting what you're doing depending on how you're fighting?
I'm sorry?
The announcers that you have in the game, will they be broadcasting as you're playing the game? Will you get to hear, like, Rogan and tell me he says on the button at least once or twice?
Yeah, you know, Rogan will get excited at a big hit. Mike Goldberg and him bounce off each other and sort of speak to the way the fight is progressing.
Cool. All right, let's check it out. It's they even got GSP's little short shorts. I love it.
All right, here we go. I'm playing it on Pro right now, so hopefully I don't get my butt whooped.
And so what we're looking at the top in here is your actual damage control bars at the top, so the amount of hits that you're taking.
So it's both stamina and the sort of damage. You know, if a guy focuses on my legs, you know, my legs will start, you know, to wear down. It'll be harder for me to move around.
Well, that's something that's got to be so hard to capture in a sport like UFC, is the exertion level is so great.
Yeah, well, I mean, the power of Next Gen really allows us to do a lot more with the game, and to combine that with EA Sports Ignite,
Nice takedown.
and our fighter likeness, our real-time exertion system, and it all sort of comes together to really sell the feel.
Yeah. What I was so amazed of reading about is the body deformation that you guys put into this game. You know, the fact that you punch someone, they're going to get a contusion.
Yeah.
You know, you hit that eye, it's going to open up, and you're going to see the actual damage being done to the body over time.
Yeah, so as the fight wears on, you'll see sort of swelling around the face, redness on the thighs. I'm having trouble here against Georges St. Pierre.
He landed that shot to the body.
I also want to talk a little bit, if we can get maybe into a submission, because there's some really cool things you guys are doing with that.
You know what? I'm going to have to, we're going to quit out here, go a little easier.
It's not easy as it looks, especially with the lag times of the controls.
It's tough. It's tough.
It is. It's real tough. But what I think is so great is it's not just like, oh, let's get him down on the ground, get him into a Kimura, and you're done. There's actual phases that you go through.
Yeah, it's something that we really wanted to innovate on. So the submission system is sort of a staged approach. It's not only about, you know, locking it in and I now have the arm bar and I'm just mashing.
Yeah.
It's really, we wanted to add sort of a cat and mouse strategy. And, you know, once we get in the game, I'll be able to sort of explain how that happens. And so there's this staged approach. If I'm able to do the work to get into a full mount, you know, slapping on that arm bar is going to be a lot easier than if I did it from, you know, half guard. All right, round two. We're going to go a little bit easier.
I know, we don't have too much time out here, so we got to make it as easy and as possible, right?
I want to show you guys all the neat action, but I can't do that if George is just holding me down.
I love it, too. I love the way that, you know, they show each of the nuances of the fighters and their footwork, because the transfer of energy is so important in a UFC match. And so you can just like throw a punch, you have to like pivot and turn and throw that punch.
Yeah, it's all in the hips, you know, so we really wanted to focus on fighters planting their feet, using that momentum and that leverage and transferring the power. And so everything is sort of in the vein of being as authentic as possible and as true to the sport.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of real life fight scenarios that play out. If anyone here is in the booth and gets a chance to go over and play EA UFC, you should head over in line right now after we're done, because it's really amazing. Oh, we got Mario now reffing.
Here we go.
Nice uppercut by St. Pierre.
So we got a little Bruce Lee's backhand fist there.
Outstanding combination.
Yeah, there's no button mashing in this game. This is all skill.
It's, you know, you can play that way, but you're going to exert yourself. Your stamina's going to be really low. There's, just like real life MMA, there's a lot of layers and nuances.
The detail in the characters, it blows me away. I mean, this is the power of the PS4, is what we're looking at right here, is the fact that we have these kinds of graphics.
We wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the things that we wanted to accomplish on, you know, the old hardware. The new hardware really allows us to focus on the details and adding those quirks, adding the level of fidelity to their likeness.
Now, when you get into this game and you can play as other characters, can you create characters of yourself?
Yeah, so using EA Sports Game Face, you can go to the EA Sports Game Face website, upload a photo of yourself, and end up actually putting yourself into the game. So a good example of that would be career mode. You'll be able to actually create yourself. It'll be you in the game, and you'll be going through the Ultimate Fighter, which is the first time for any UFC game. And basically, you'll compete on the Ultimate Fighter for a spot to get into the UFC.
So you have to go to the tough gym, hone all your skills, get all the experience, win the contract, and then you can actually fight in the UFC.
Exactly.
It's so close to reality, that's crazy.
And then once you're in the UFC, sort of the goal of the game is, you know, become the best.
Right.
Wear a belt, become a champion, and then get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
So then if, let's say, you have a losing career, your longevity is going to be shot.
Yeah,
your
so
career will end.
There's actually, it's sort of a battle of two opposites. And what I mean by that is there's both longevity and popularity. And so longevity speaks to how much damage do I take. And popularity is sort of the opposite end of that spectrum. How popular am I?
Right.
And so if I go out into a fight and I just stand and brawl, I'm going to be really popular. People are going to love to watch me fight, but I'm also going to be taking a lot of hits. So it's
Yeah,
really
you got to
just about-
please Dana. Dana wants a good fight.
Yeah, so it's just about managing sort of the how badly I want to be exciting and how long do I want to last.
Right hand. He's working from guard, and now he's got him stacked.
Are there different arenas, or is it the same octagon? Are we
Nope,
at MGM?
there are different arenas. Oh, here we go.
All right, so this is the submission thing that we're talking about, which is really crazy. So
And the submission attempt
it tells you which way to push, and then the other team has to push against where you're pushing.
So it's a little bit hard to show because of the lag, but basically as the defender, all I'm trying to do is get any of those 4 gates to the outer edge. That's
Right.
all I got to do. And as the person on the offense, what I'm trying to do is move in the same direction as you to stop you. While I'm doing that, I'm also looking for the sort of advanced technique, which is there'll be a left stick call out. Once I hit that, I now get into stage 2. And there'll be different numbers of stages for each submission depending on where you lock it in.
And if you are trying to escape the submission, and you actually do, then you start from the very beginning, if you were the one that's trying to take
Exactly.
it down. That's hard. You guys aren't making it easy on us.
Well, you know, MMA, like I said before, it's a layered sport. We wanted to be as true to it as possible. There's a lot of things that we're doing to sort of help users along. So we have a challenges area where it's sort of like a vacuum that players can go to and practice very specific techniques. If my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not very good, I can go there and just practice that. If I just want to practice takedown defense, I can go there. In addition, we also have a tutorial in-game, and we'll also be releasing tutorial content as a video.
Great.
Connected there.
And this is actually going to be released very quickly, just here in a
This
couple
is
days
coming out
now.
on Tuesday. The demo's out right now. You should go download it, please. And I mean, the reaction's been very, very good. We've been very happy with it. Obviously, we've gotten a lot of feedback that we've sort of incorporated into the final version. And yeah, but it'll be out on Tuesday.
I mean, how can you go wrong with Bruce Lee?
I'm sorry?
I said, how can you go wrong with Bruce Lee?
How do you go wrong with Bruce Lee?
We got a couple flying knees. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, it's a game of firsts. You know, it's the first UFC game coming out of EA Sports. It's the first
Which is
new
surprising,
sports
because if you think
partnership.
about how long like Strikeforce and Bellator and MMA has been such a huge part of our culture, this is the first one. But I'm glad we waited, because it was well worth the wait. This looks amazing. All right, Jazz, well, that is about all the time we have for today. I want to thank you so much for coming up here. As a fan of UFC and the EA game, I'm really excited to have you. Thank you for showing this, and thank you for multitasking and talking with me while playing the game. That's hard.
I tried my best.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, well, there is a lot more brawling action waiting for you in the EA Sports UFC trailer. Let's take a look.
From flash knockouts to 5-round wars, going to battle in the octagon can push a fighter's body to its limits, and sometimes beyond. Whether you're slipping a jab, throwing a hook, or loading up a haymaker, we wanted EA Sports UFC's fighting engine to show off the same fluidity you'd see in a real fight, and that starts from the ground up. You won't see our fighters sliding or skating across the canvas. Instead, their feet will actually press into the surface of the octagon. Transfer that power into a strike and send the opposition reeling with a perfectly placed blow. Not only will they feel it, but you'll be able to see it as you send a shockwave rippling through their body. But don't forget, striking isn't the only way for you to put the hurt on your opponents. Sink into submission and watch a fighter struggle as you strain their limbs or constrict their circulation. Our new full-body deformation system means that flesh displaces flesh. Muscles contort and skin flushes to help create a greater sense of urgency than ever before. Fighting with a plan in EA Sports UFC makes all the difference. Overexert yourself too early, and you'll end up gassed for the later rounds, meaning your technique gets sloppy and strikes pack less power. Rather than only sustaining incremental damage and seeing progressive change, one well-placed blow now has the ability to devastate and open up a fighter. Thousands of hours went into making sure our fighters look their best, but whether or not they stay that way is up to you. Not every win is pretty, and sometimes you've got to pay the price if you want to be the best. Stay tuned for more Dev Diaries as we break down our striking and submission gameplay.
プレイステーション